All right, welcome back to the Be Bold podcast. Today I want to talk about a lot about what the NFL did with the whole Tyreek Hill situation and Jerron Reed situation. I think they're total money grabbers. And I mean, honestly, I don't know each case specifically, so that could play a huge role. I'm just going based off what I think. And what I think is that some very disturbing clips of Tyreek Hill came out that you guys all probably heard. And somehow he's not going to get suspended when he told his baby mama that both his kid and her should fear him, with many expletives. Sounded very scary, coming from a 5'8 man. But anyways, Jerron Reed is a solid run-stopping defensive tackle. Not many people going to buy his jersey. Not many people going to tune into the game to see Jerron Reed. He gets suspended 6 games for a domestic abuse situation. Tyreek Hill not going to get suspended at all. The most watched, viewed, streamed game of the NFL regular season last year was Chiefs versus Rams. Everybody was looking for that game, the two top teams at the time. Bunch of points scored. The NFL loves that. The fans love it. So it's interesting to me that you keep a guy like Tyreek Hill because you know what he brings, but suspend Jerron Reed for 6 games. It fears me because I think the NFL is all about the money. They're money grabbers. This is nothing new. But it's fucked up because wrong is wrong and right is right. Both were wrong. Both should be suspended. Tyreek Hill is not going to miss one football game this year. And I know Josh Gordon is a receiver, but this is getting into some marijuana stuff. He's literally out of the National Football League for smoking marijuana. But you're allowed to beat up on people and threaten people? Shows a lot about what the NFL is about. They're all about their money. That's all it comes down to. It's money, 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 money. And then after that, what are we at? Money. And then the NFL tries to push this narrative, the media tries to push this narrative that players like Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, they're divas, they're team cancers. That's the term they love to slap on these guys is team cancers. Antonio Brown did exactly what a team would do. You do what's best for you. You get your money. You get respected. What does a team do when a player's not performing? This is any league. This isn't just the NFL. What does a team do? They trade him. Harrison Barnes, a small forward for the Dallas Mavericks, in the middle of a game got traded to the Sacramento Kings. First of all, poor guy. But second of all, they don't care. They do not give a shit about you. They're going to do what's best for winning and what's best for business. Players should do the same thing every single time. Nothing wrong with what Antonio Brown did. Nothing wrong with what Le'Veon Bell did. Le'Veon Bell paid for it. He missed out on, I think, $13 million. But he got a huge contract from a team that actually wanted him and wanted to pay him. Ever since player movement and the powerful players have really started to control their own destiny, I think all the leagues have succeeded more. So when you get these people trying to push this narrative that the players should be loyal to their team and their fan base, bullshit. The leagues and the owners care about one thing, and that's that green. And I'm not talking about that dope. It's the same thing in the NBA as I just touched on. You get these guys like, oh, LeBron, he left Cleveland. He's a backstabber. He doesn't care to compete. No. He did what's best for him. Look at his career he's created. Would he have done close to the same in Cleveland? Probably. Who knows? It's up to these guys. Let them go where they want to go. They're the ones making the money. Getting back to the Tyreek Hill thing. You could also take it another direction with what the NFL did. Maybe they realized they were wrong for letting Hill off the hook and they wanted to really slam down on Jerron Reed. I don't think that's the case. I think they know who makes the money, and that's playmakers. Tyreek Hill's a playmaker. As much of a scumbag he is, he's a great receiver in the NFL. And they know he's electrifying, and he's gonna bring in the ratings. That's what the NFL cares about. They've showed it time in and time out. The NFL is my least favorite league. Roger Goodell, terrible human being. Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports calls him Hitler. Maybe a little over the top, but maybe not. You be the judge. White Sox and Cubbies. The White Sox finally won a couple games, dropped yesterday's game, back at home for a 10-game homestand. That should be nice. Reynaldo Lopez has looked good, and he got quoted saying it's going to be a brand new him for the rest of the year. Reynaldo, don't talk about it, just show us, because you haven't been good enough to even talk or make guarantees. Just show us. You got nasty stuff, but just show us. I don't want to hear about it. Because I have a feeling he's going to come out next start and go 4 innings, 7 earned. He's not been consistent. He's got a little bit of Rodon in him, where some starts he looks like he could be this ace for a staff, and then other games he looks like, this guy's a bust. So hopefully he keeps it on track. A lot of moving pieces here. A lot of people actually thought that, myself included, I thought for sure. When Eloy got hurt, I thought Robert was going to get called up, but we called up, what's his name? Adam Engel, speedy guy who can't hit. He's actually played pretty well for us. I guess I should have known Robert wasn't coming up. They may call him up in September. I'm not even sure if that's going to happen. No matter what happens with the rest of this season, I would like to see a guy like Nick Madrigal and honestly Robert up in September. Have them learn here. Have them trial and error up here when it doesn't matter. Because next year it's going to matter. We will be in contention. That's not even a question. The Cubbies. I listen to 670 The Score radio a lot. And they keep talking about this team like they need to make these dire moves. Like they're in big trouble. I don't know if these guys have been watching. But the Cubs look right now like one of the hottest teams in baseball. They've obviously had their struggles, but they're talking about getting a closer like Shane Green from the Tigers or a guy like Whit Merrifield. And I get Russell is tough at second, but Whit Merrifield's going to cost a lot. And unless the Cubs want to give up a guy like Albert Alzolay, some of their best prospects, whoever's left in that system, is Whit Merrifield going to push you over the edge that much? I mean, he's a nice player having a good season, but I don't know if he's really worth that. And then even to go and get another bullpen guy, are you going to take a rental for a year to give up a prospect? I know they're in win now mode, but I mean, I think they're still going to need some of these young pieces because you look at, say, the star players of the Cubs team. Let's go Wilson Contreras, Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Javi Baez. Schwarber's not a star, but Kyle Schwarber. And then you get to your pitching. You got Darvish, he's locked up. Quintana's locked up. Kyle Hendricks, I think he's locked up. But Chris Bryant, a guy, he's going to look for one of the biggest contracts in baseball history. Well-deserved, coming from a Sox fan. He's a great player. I'm not sure, no matter how much the Cubs management and ownership is willing to spend, I'm not even sure you can keep all these guys. So if I'm Theo, I'm aggressive, I make moves, but I think I was already aggressive in signing a guy like Craig Kimbrell and not having to give anybody up. It's important to keep a farm system in place because you don't know what's going to happen with injuries. We've seen careers just take crazy turns without injuries. You need to have a farm system behind the product to pick pieces apart. Pick pieces, we'll call this guy up for 10 days. He'll give us some speed while so-and-so's on the shelf. The Cubs are starting to thin out their farm so much where they're not even going to be able to be in that type of situation. Want to touch on something the Bulls did really quick. They brought back Shaquille Harrison. Shaq Harrison and Ryan Arcidiacono were extremely fun to watch last year. They're both hustlers. They get after it on defense, and they both have this different points of offensive games I like. Ryan Arcidiacono, he is Kirk Heinrich 2.0. He can knock down threes, he can set up your offense, and he's going to dive all over everywhere. Shaq, he He is a solid finisher at the rim. He has a lot of nice finishes if you look up some of his highlights. And he is a defensive ace, a bulldog out there. I think per 36 minutes, he averaged the most steals in the NBA. Could be wrong on that. I know that stat is a little bit flawed, but Shaq gets after it on defense. Now, that being said, those are not two guys that should be starting caliber players on a team. And last year they were. Explains a lot about us having a 22-win season. But now you put these guys that I personally like, they're going to be sitting in reserve roles. That shows you how much deeper this basketball team has gotten since last year. You look at our guards are extremely deep. Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Satoransky, Ryan Arcidiacono, Shaq Harrison. I think we could use a backup too that's kind of just a shooter. I know a lot of Bulls fans don't like it. I don't really see what's wrong with having J.R. Smith, a former NBA champion, to just come off our bench and shoot threes. I mean, the guy's an airhead, but I don't see anything wrong with that. It brings you some experience, a guy who's been there and done that, and he can knock down threes. He even put up decent numbers in Cleveland last year before they told him to pack up and go home. A weird situation there. He didn't get bought out. They just said, go, adios, we're tanking. I think he would kind of just fit in perfect, bring him in off the bench, shoot threes. That's what we need. The Bulls are set to... Their small forward is a weird position for us because starting, we're going to have Otto Porter. Off the bench, we're going to have Chandler Hutchinson, who's shown a lot of potential. Stacey King calls him Young Pippen. I could kind of see that. Solid defender. He has a little bit of finishing ability to him. Runs like a deer in the open court. And then there's my boy Denzel Valentine. Now, I guess you could kind of call him a two-guard. I don't know what to expect from Valentine. He was already pretty damn slow and coming off a full ankle surgery. I don't know what to expect from him. So that could be a spot where I guess Denzel could slide in behind Zach at the backup two-guard, but I don't love that. I mean, again, if you're a J.R. Smith naysayer, okay, take Denzel Valentine then. I mean, you can make your argument against J.R. Smith, but when your argument coming back at me is Denzel Valentine, I don't know about that. Now, with the Bulls and making the playoffs, I just touched on it last episode, and I want Bulls fans to be optimistic about this year. And I was mad at Garpax when they said it, but they do have a point. The reality is, the East isn't as bad as everybody says. Let's go down the list here right now. And I'll say who I think is going to finish where. I drop power rankings on my website, bbullchicago.com. Go check them out. Let me know if you think anybody should be higher, lower, anything like that. If you agree, disagree. First seed, I'm going to go Milwaukee. I think Giannis is going to take another big step. I think he's going to really work on his jump shot a lot, and I think he's going to continue to work on his closing. That's your only knock on a guy who can't shoot. Can he be a closer? It's like the LeBron problem, he doesn't have the killer instinct. I think Giannis is going to work on that a lot. Bucks will be the first seed, second seed Sixers. I mean, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and Al Horford. That's a nasty top four for players right there. Nasty. 3 seed, I don't know when... This is tough. I don't know when Victor Oladipo is coming back. If he starts off the season relatively early, I'll go Pacers 3 seed. Malcolm Brogdon, Victor Oladipo. That is a nice young backcourt who can ball. Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner, 2 very good front court pieces. I think the Pacers could have a huge year. Huge year. The other big thing, you look at, let's go to 4 seed. Give me at 4 seed, I'll take the Celtics. I think Kemba Walker takes a little bit of less ego out of that locker room than Kyrie does. I'm not a huge Kyrie guy. I think he's going to come in. He's going to have a lot of weight on his shoulders in Boston, but I also think Jason Tatum's going to be able to develop more under a guy like Kemba instead of Kyrie. I think Jaylen Brown will bounce back a little bit. So I'll go Celtics at 4 seed. 5th seed, I know they lost Kawhi, but the Toronto Raptors are NBA champions. They got lucky with some injuries with the Dubs, obviously, but they're NBA champions, and it doesn't take just one guy to win a championship. Kyle Lowry, everybody hates on him. He's a very good point guard. It's just that simple. I don't want to. In the regular season, he's top 15, and I know that doesn't sound great, but he's been an all-star before. He's a guy who can give you 20 night in and night out, dish out 7-8 assists. What am I at? 5 seed, 6 seed. I'll go. This is where it gets really tough. I'll go Brooklyn because they had a nice team last year, and Kyrie Irving is an upgrade over D'Angelo Russell. By how much? I really don't know. 7th seed, I'll go Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler will get them into the playoffs and nothing else. Hey, Jimmy got his wish. He wants to be the guy. He's the guy. Go live it up in South Beach, homie. 8th seed, you know I'm going to do it. Chicago Bulls, and they'll upset Milwaukee first round. Nah, I'm just playing. We'll probably get swept, but I think they will squeeze in. I think the other 2 teams that could compete for the 8th seed, you look at the Orlando Magic, who made the 8th seed last year, and then Detroit. Detroit's interesting because if you look at it, their roster, their stars are bigger than our stars. I think we're a little deeper than Detroit. And the question for Detroit is, can Blake Griffin have another All-NBA campaign and carry them in? I don't know. I think Rose will be nice with them. I think he'll take a little bit of pressure off Blake. I think Drummond could have a big year. Rose and Drummond could be a nice pick and roll combo. But Griffin, it's just as simple as this for the Pistons. Blake Griffin has to have another All-NBA campaign if they want to make the playoffs. And that's a lot to ask of a guy who's, I think, 30 now and coming off a lot of injuries. Even was banged up last year, but he powered through it. Heading over to the Western Conference. Just rattle through here. 1 seed, I'm going to go Clippers. 2 seed Lakers. 3. Everybody's counting the Warriors out. Why the D'Angelo Russell and Steph Curry in the backcourt? Klay Thompson will come back at the end of the season. I mean, give me the Warriors at 3. People are forgetting what the run they just went on and how great Steph Curry is. 4, give me Portland. 5, give me the Rockets. I think the Rockets can be dangerous, but I think they're going to have some problems figuring it out between Russell Westbrook and Harden, and I think they're going to take it slow. I think you're going to see Harden not have as great of a regular season because I think this year they're going to say, hey, let's take this regular season and make it work so the playoffs we can thrive. 6th seed, give me Utah. Mike Conley will be a nice boost for them, but some people are talking crazy like the Jazz are going to be the 3rd or 2nd seed. Get the fuck out of here, the Jazz. What am I at right now? 6th seed now. Give me... this is tough. I want to go... Give me the Nuggets. I'm not a Nuggets guy. I know they're a good team. I don't think Jamal Murray is that great. I think Jokic is awesome, but I think he needs to be more aggressive and they need to score more. You don't know what you're going to get from a guy like Michael Porter Jr., so I'll put them at the 6th seed. 7th seed, give me the Kings. I think they're going to make a huge jump. They're going to have Harrison Barnes for the whole year. They lost a lot of games late last year. Fox is going to learn how to close a little more. Buddy Hield's becoming the offensive player everybody thought they'd be. 8th seed, who will sneak into the Western Conference playoffs? A team that could actually sneak in, and it doesn't really match up with my power rankings, but I'm going to make a bold prediction right now. The Dallas Mavericks. They're not deep enough, but I think Luka and Kristaps, that could be a combo that carries you into the playoffs alone. So we'll see how that goes. So that's going to be my bold prediction, is the Dallas Mavericks sneaking